All right, today we're going to do a random review here, and we're going to talk about review the 1995 thriller, which I have here on Blu-ray, Heat, starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Val Kilmer, directed by Michael Mann. But before we talk about the film itself and other stuff here, let's get into the plot of the film. So you have Robert De Niro in the film. He plays the character of Neil McCauley, and he leads a crew of professional robbers in LA. But one day there's a botched heist, and from there you have this detective, Vincent Hanna, who is played by Al Pacino. He's now on Robert De Niro's trail, and as the two engage in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, they develop a mutual respect, despite knowing that their paths can only end in confrontation. And that is the plot here to the film. Talking about the cast here and performances, Al Pacino, it's a very intense performance. He's definitely explosive at times. And what I was reading about the film, that possibly his character, it wasn't talked about or covered in the movie, that possibly his character has a cocaine habit, which you can believe, it's believable. Which explains, his outbursts in the film. But, Al Pacino's great. Robert De Niro, he's a, calm and calculated professional, and a perfect, contrast to Pacino. Their dynamic, drives the movie. And, even though they are opposing forces, there's a respect there between these two characters. Val Kilmer, R.I.P., another great actor. He has a strong supporting role in the film as part of De Niro's crew. And also in De Niro's crew, you have Tom Sizemore, R.I.P. You have Kevin Gage, who plays a character that has a criminal background, and he's kind of a loose cannon. And he's the reason why that, this professional crew kind of break apart, because he kills one person and he goes off the deep end, and so De Niro's after him. You have John Voight, his character in the film, who's kind of a handler, or he's kind of, I forgot the kind of character he plays, but basically he works with De Niro. And you have a lot of great actors in this. Amy Brenneman, Ashley Judd, Wes Studi, William Fichtner, Tom Noonan, rest in peace, Ted Levine, from, Silence of the Lambs, another great actor. So, I mean, just a great ensemble, of talent here. And a lot of solid support, from, again, John Voight, Tom Sizemore, Kevin Gage, Amy Brenneman, Ashley Judd, Wes Studi, Wayne Fichtner, even Natalie Portman has an appearance in here she's in a couple of scenes as Al Pacino's daughter. As far as other stuff here, I mean, the overall aura and the atmosphere of the film, it's incredible. And that's all due to Michael Mann. Michael Mann delivers top tier direction here. And as far as his filmography goes, Thief is a great movie. Collateral is another great film that Michael Mann directed. He also directed Last of the Mohicans, which I haven't seen. I've only seen maybe a little bit here and there, but not the entire film. But of course, he was an executive producer on Miami Vice, and that was an impactful show. Michael Mann's a great director, and I know right now he's developing a sequel, or it's like a sequel prequel to Heat, and I know Christian Bale is attached and Leonardo DiCaprio. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, so far, that's solid casting. So again, we'll see what happens. The cinematography is excellent. Whenever I think about this film, I think about the blue tones, the texture throughout the film. I just, it's a lot of blue, kind of like what you see behind me. You know, I mean the blue wall, but again, the film just gives off a very, sleek and stylish look. And again, I just really enjoyed the cinematography. The action scenes when they do happen, I mean the shootouts, the few that the film has, I thought they were well choreographed and well executed, and they still hold up. It's just the movements of the characters and the choreography and the sound of the action. It's very impactful. The pacing, I thought was well paced. It allows the story and the characters to develop. Like it's a very multi-layered story. Every character has a background. Every character has, like every character is highlighted, and I really appreciate that. The coffee shop scene between Pacino and DeNiro is probably my favorite scene of the film. It's the one scene that everybody, talks about. It's definitely a standout moment. And the whole cat and mouse, dynamic, definitely keeps the tension high and, makes both, sides compelling. And yeah, I mean, Heat is a great movie. For people that haven't seen it, it's a well-made thriller, and I definitely recommend it. But yeah, with all that being said here, which I covered quite a bit, let me get to my overall thoughts on Heat. At the end of the day, Heat, it delivers with a powerhouse cast led by Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, with Michael Mann's focused direction and compelling atmosphere, and it's a gripping cat and mouse thriller, and definitely a '90s classic. And if I were to rate this movie on a scale to 1 to 10, for me, I'm going to give this a 10. This is a classic, and yeah, one that I definitely recommend. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.